I'd like to talk a little bit today about assessments. You've been working on the course blueprint, and it seems like probably two-thirds of you are really grasping the purpose of the learning objectives and doing really well on that. Some of you I'm getting to go back and do some adjustments on those. It's not just a task. Please realize with learning objectives, it is very critical, particularly in an online course, but really in a face-to-face course as well, to give students very explicit instructions as to what they are supposed to learn from a given lesson. It really helps them have some ease about their learning process and if they know what direction they're headed. I know that at some points when I was in college, it was almost thought, well, they just need to learn everything. And, the idea was to sort of fail me out if I didn't learn everything or didn't anticipate what the teacher wanted. That is not a good practice. In higher ed, we really are about teaching students and bringing them to the next level. That does not mean your learning objectives shouldn't be, rigorous. You can set learning objectives rigorously, but you need to be very definitive about what the student needs to take away. By the same vein, your learning objective should tell you exactly what it is that you want to assess. So your assessment criteria is very, very important. There is so much work out there about assessments. I took a statistics class in my master's program, and assessments can get very complicated. Their validity can be very difficult to reach if you don't know what you're doing. But fortunately, if it's not test questions, um, doing an assessment on behavior or student activities is not that difficult. I found this article, and I'll include a link to it in the course. But it's how do you create authentic assessments? So if you have a learning objective that you need to measure, that's the first question you ask. And if you look at the top one on this number one, questions to ask, what should students know and be able to do? The list of knowledge and skills become your standard. So really refining that. What is the standard? What do I want them to know? And then your assessment would entail what indicates the students have met these standards. So, at what level, what percentage, sometimes 100% accuracy is not necessary as long as they seem to get it 70% of the time. That tells me that they understand it. So, understanding yourself, what you think it is, that indicates that they've met those standards. Creating authentic tasks. That's why real world projects are really, really good because if you're trying to teach something that students need to take forth into the workplace, in order to know that they can do it, sometimes you have to see them do it. And so creating authentic tasks that actually tell you that students have met the standards that you set for them. And what does good performance on the task, the criteria, like we said, is it 70% of the time? Do they need to have perfect spelling or not? In some cases they don't have to. So understanding the criteria that you feel is important and then creating a rubric that just outlines all of those thoughts that you have about the standards, the tasks, the criteria, and grading accordingly. So that's how you create a good assessment. I'm a big fan of project-based assessments. I think they get to a certain level of application that we don't typically get, and things where they can bring in real-world events, real-world commentary, those sorts of things help them to start thinking holistically about the material that you are providing. So that's some thought on assessments. And then, of course, with learning activities, you are going to want to teach the standards, the tasks, the criteria, and share the rubric with them so that they understand what it is you're looking for. So just some thoughts for today on that, and I look forward to talking with you soon.